And we were just talking about CJ Abrams, who's breaking out, playing like a star. Barry Svrluga writes today in the Post, it's time to get an extension done with him. It just feels like if not him, represented by Ryan Zimmerman's former agent, then maybe they're just not able to do this. Maybe they're just never
Right.
going to quite figure this out. Chudy is in Gainesville. What's up, Chudy?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, no, I don't know. CJ Abrams definitely is balling. He should definitely get extended. He should definitely get paid. But Grant, to your question about those who are under 25, who I put a high stock in, I think despite how poorly this season went, I think Deni Avdija is another under 25 person that I put great stock in. He balled. He just seemed to take that leap, and with the deal that we got him on, I think he can only get better from there. So yeah, that's my guy.
It's a good one.
Credit to this Wizards front office, right? How often do we get to say that? Not very. They identified it before the year, and they gave him that extension, right? Ultimately,
he'll be playing for peanuts now.
Yeah, a guy that broke out. I mean, he was always kind of miscast. Not even kind of. He was miscast on a team that was trying to win with centered around Bradley Beal and company, having him sort of be a 3-and-D guy. Just not what he was. This is what he is, a guy that can do a little bit of everything, right? A point forward, a good defender, can score a little bit. Everything about his game continued to improve. And again, we're ruined by guys stepping in at 19, 20 years old being stars. Sometimes it takes a minute. And now that they were bad, but on purpose, he was allowed to blossom with the ball in his hands a little bit. He can play.
He's big. He's athletic. He's 6'9", bigger maybe than people think, playing on the wing, playing the role he does. And to your point, Danny, by getting him locked up now, financially, there's some security there for him going into the season, but it's going to be a massive win, it looks like, on the other side for the team by getting this contract done with Deni Avdija. He had a statistical season, if you look at, points, rebounds, steals, assists, some of those things that nobody's had around here since Chris Webber. And so it's a unique skill set, is what I'll say. The amount of ways he can help, the amount of things that he can do and did do this year, it's pretty rare. Doesn't mean he's the best or the
star,
second best player on a championship team. Like, he could be an unbelievable role player, to your point, on one of these teams playing in the playoffs right now. He'd make these championship caliber teams a lot better. He'd get minutes. He'd be in the rotation, and they'd find a way to use him. He's a bit of a Swiss Army knife in that way. What about Bilal Coulibaly before we move on from the Wizards? And again, we're looking for under 25 players worth buying stock in DC. Barry writing today, it's time to sign 23-year-old CJ Abrams to a massive extension. We'll open up the phones on this right now at 800-636-1067, 800-636-1067. How do you feel about Coulibaly coming off last year? He obviously, broke the bone in his wrist and his season ended before it was supposed to.
Wildly impressed with him. I mean, usually if you're at 19 and you're not, overly physical, meaning like you don't come in with big, strong, stout, you're going to get eaten alive. And he wasn't. He wasn't scared, was able to kind of play at both ends. Offensive game was frankly a lot better than I thought. I would love to see one day, could he be the number one guy on the scouting report for the opponent? I don't know about that. Like, he's going to get some looks based on the fact that, Kyle Kuzma's going to draw attention. Same with Jordan Poole and company. We'll have to see like a role increase here over the next couple of seasons as, again, they're kind of trying to rebuild. But he was way more advanced offensively than I thought he would be at this stage.
He's a guy, too, that I think you had to have watched him because the numbers are not that impressive, if that makes sense. For a rookie, they're not bad. It's 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 44% from the floor. But there were the moments where he flashed were there.
Yeah.
The athleticism, taking a guy off the bounce, a big dunk, grabbing rebounds, being aggressive around the rim. As you said, the touch, occasionally he looked like he could shoot it a little bit. I think he ended up shooting around 35% from deep, but there is certainly more there. And he's only getting going in his infancy. I mean, this is a baby. We saw him walking here in the neighborhood and we're like, that kid looks like Bilal Coulibaly. And we're like, that is Bilal Coulibaly.
He looks like a teenager. Oh, he is. Still, yeah.
But right before he got hurt back in the middle of March. He had kind of hit a little bit of a rougher patch, I'd say. But he was scoring between 10 and 15 points about every single night, right around 7-8 rebounds. He'd become kind of a locked-in 15-8 guy with more minutes. Not a bad foundation to lay now coming back at 20 years old, and hopefully after being away from the game, getting to look at it from that other perspective, he benefits from that too.
Without a doubt. And again, he had a different experience, a different path than a lot of the American AAU circuit playing at, an ACC school or the Big Ten or the SEC or something like that. So, he went from playing with adults where he was kind of an afterthought there on those rosters because it was all about Wemby to, again, not being overwhelmed by the NBA, which is a win for a guy with that little experience at age 19.
If I'm buying stock in one of the young Capitals, this is tough. Connor McMichael of the sub 25-year-olds had the best season for sure. I kind of like Hendrix Lapierre a little bit more in terms of offensive upside. And the other guy who needs to be mentioned is Ivan Miroshnichenko,
Yep.
who's much younger than the other two and very skilled, but also thick. He's got like a Dmitry Orlov frame thing going on where he can really hit. He's physical. When he hits you around the boards, it rattles. He's 20 years old. He's listed about 185, 190 pounds. I think he'll get a little bigger. But I debate between him and LaPierre as to who I would buy stock in. I've always been partial to Hendricks, so maybe I go there. But I think Miroshnichenko might have the most upside, the most potential laced of the guys in terms of offensive skill.
You're only 19 this year. Here's what's nice, and it's been a while since this has been the case with the Capitals because they've had a veteran team when the window was open. There are a handful of guys you could debate between. How about Rasmus Sandin? How about Alexei Protas? How about Alexiev on defense? I mean, for Sandin's case, I'll make that one real quick because that was sort of my dark horse answer. Kind of the heir apparent to John Carlson to me, right? Does a little bit of everything. Excellent puck mover. Is able to put some points on the board. Maybe your future captain of the power play, up there at the point. He can do an awful lot of stuff well, even at this stage at 23 years old. But it's a nice situation all of a sudden, right? This is not what we're used to with the Capitals. It was like maybe one guy under 25 or two that would be semi-regular contributors. Now I don't want to say it's the core of the team, but there are a greater number of guys that are on that side of their mid-20s.
Goes without saying, Jayden Daniels should be the representative for the Commanders.
Indeed.
After he was just drafted at number 2 overall. He's 23 years old, same age as CJ Abrams, who's been in the big leagues. Think about that.
Yeah, wild, right?
For now 3 seasons. And him and Jayden Daniels are the same age, which is kind of funny. Who else in the convo for the Commanders among the sub 25-year-olds worthy of some stock?
Dotson's 24. So again, this is a buy low opportunity.
But you could definitely buy some at a cheap rate right now compared to last year.
Very affordable.
Unfortunately, I bought that stock at like 86 a share last year.
Yeah, right at the high.
It's down to like $13 right now. I might load up on those again.
It might be time, right? The little dollar cost averaging. Johnny Newton is a good one with plenty of upside. I throw Ben Sinnott in there. I'm telling you, I think from a guy that's a late second round pick, the role I think he might have on this offense, this could be a great return on investment, right? So it wouldn't cost you all that much to draft a rookie tight end that's in a room with Zach Ertz and John Bates, guys that are veterans that have been around. But I think there's plenty of usage